everybody, welcome to our live video. If you're just tuning in, I'm Whitney Magnuson and I'm live with Unity Stamp Company, and I am featuring some fun vintage style techniques today that I think that you'll like. I love getting messy and just kind of creating things that are happy accidents, and so I want to share with you a couple of ways that I kind of create vintage style cards, and maybe it will inspire you, and if it does, I hope you'll share it with us. So we just had an amazing April release. I believe it is 10 stamp sets. 3 of them have coordinating dies, one of which we're going to use today. We have a really, really amazing vintage paper pack that we released, and warehouse deals. And this is all going to go through tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. CST. So if you like these new arrivals, be sure to check out the other deals too so you don't miss out on anything. But I want to share with you the cards that we're going to create today. So here's the first one, and this one is using Eiffel Grunge, and this is a brand new release to Unity, and wait until you see all of the stamp elements that come in this set. It is unbelievable. I know I'm going to be using a lot of these elements, mixing and matching with my existing kits, just because they're so great. So here's the first one. And then here is the other one we're going to create. This is featuring another new arrival by Angie Blom, and I absolutely love this. It is just kind of a vintage camera with some florals poking out, and I love the box around it. It almost looks like a vintage postcard. So really, really loving that. So, okay, I just feel like it's like kind of out in the abyss, and I like it. Okay, so here's this first set here. I need to just share with you the elements that come in this because there's a lot. And you can create so many fun vintage style cards with this. So here's like a little, it's like script writing, and I believe it's all in like French. Hopefully it says nice things. I'm sure it does. Here's another kind of little label here. I love that. This one I think is so cool. It's kind of like a distressed little grid, and it just kind of fits right in the corner of pages, which I love. So that's a great element. Cannot have a vintage style set without a splatter. That splatter is so great. This little buddy is like, I feel like underrated, but I really love him. It's almost like a little mini ruler like bit. So really, really fun. And then this is like a little, I don't know, it looks like a little like label thing. I don't know what it is, but I love it.
Hi, Carrie.
And then, of course, we have the beautiful Eiffel Tower with some florals peeking out. And this is all by Sandaya Iyer. And I'm so excited that this stamp set also has a coordinating die for that Eiffel. It just really ups the versatility of the stamp sets when we can offer these coordinating dies, because you can try so many different techniques with it. So if you're going to get this set, do not forget to add the die to your order, because it's like a total must-have. So I love that. Okay, so let's go ahead and create this first card here with Eiffel Grunge. So for this card, we are going to need a few things. We are going to need some brown cardstock for our matting. This is just a regular sheet of craft cardstock. We do sell this craft cardstock in our shop if you're looking for a really great craft color. I love this craft color. It's my favorite. I have already die cut out our Eiffel here with some watercolor paper, and I'm going to show you how you can get the perfect stamp alignment using your dies. And then just a little scrap sheet of paper for our stamping. So let's get started here. I'm going to stamp out this Eiffel first, so it has a little bit of time to dry before we pop in and do some watercoloring. So I'm just going to grab my mini Misty. I'm going to just pop in a sheet of scrap paper. And then I'm going to take my Eiffel stamp, and we're just going to stamp it right in the middle here. It really doesn't matter what kind of ink you use for this. We are just using this impression to kind of line it up with our die cut. So yeah, sometimes when there's a lot going on with a die, like there is with this one, I find it easier to do this method just to get the perfect alignment. So now I'm going to take that negative and I'm going to center it exactly around here. So I have kind of even edges around all of it. You just get a better bird's eye view, whereas this is so close to the edge, it's kind of a little bit hard to see if you have it perfect. So just kind of a little tip for you. So once we have this lined up and we like where it's going, we are going to just tape that in place. And then we're going to pop the die cut piece right inside of there. And we left this stamp exactly where it is, so I can just ink it up. And this is a watercolor friendly ink. I'm using VersaFine Clair Nocturne. It's my favorite watercolor ink. And we're just going to stamp that down. Ooh, it is absolutely perfect. So there it is, all good to go. We have the perfect die cut, spacing, and everything. So we won on that one, right? Love it. Okay, so we're going to set that aside to just give it some time to dry before we go in watercolor. And while we're doing that, we are going to stamp out our background. So this is just like a little mat that I'm using for like ink smooshing and stuff so I don't create a mess around and like all these elements because they are vintage elements. If you want to, you sure can. I am not going to. I'm going to live on the edge. Okay, so I'm just going to clean off my little Eiffel stamp quick. Okay, so I'm going to be using a series of brown inks. So I grabbed just kind of 4 colors that I'm loving from my collection. 3 of them are Pink Fresh, so Warm Buff, Gathered Twigs, and Espresso. And from Gina K Designs, my very favorite brown is this Warm Cocoa color. So any browns that you have in your collection is going to do the exact same technique. I'm using dye-based inks, so these are water reactive inks. So anything water reactive, go ahead and grab. Even a marker that's water-based is going to work great. Okay, so I'm going to first stamp out this Eiffel. And you're really not going to see it. I'm just doing it basically so I know where I want to adhere my Eiffel to on my paper and then kind of put my elements around it. So this is just kind of a guide. So I think we'll do the Eiffel right there. Perfect. All right, so now I'm going to go in. I'm going to grab this little element first. I just love how this one looks. Let's grab a little bit of a darker one. This is Espresso. It's a very, very dark brown ink. And I am just going to go ahead and stamp some of the texture on this side. And then I'm going to do the same thing kind of on this side. So when I do mixed media stamping, I usually try to like even it out. So as you see, like I'm not doing just one up here and leaving this blank. I'm kind of evening it out. And I do that a lot with 2s and 3s. I don't know. It's just the method to my madness. All right. So our next little one, this is my favorite. I love this little script one. We're going to go in with this Gina color. And I'm going to just add this kind of text right over here. Love it. And it just kind of mixes in. So then I'm just going to take and stamp a little bit up on the corner.
Sandhai is here.
Hello. So we have the creator of the art or of this stamp set here with us. She made some incredible cards featuring this set, and you should totally go check them out. They're amazing. So I'm going to grab this little label here, a little bit darker because I want it to be seen, and I'm going to do that right below our Eiffel. All right, and then I'm going to grab my splat here, and I'm going to go in. I want to see what this color looks like. Let's just test her on out. Oh, I love that.
Katie made a good point. She said, I like that you left all the media pieces separate so we can add as much or little as we want.
Yeah, absolutely. I love sets like this because, even if you're not in the mood to use the Eiffel Tower, these elements are amazing and they are going to be things that you're going to grab for over and over again. Okay, so I'm going to go in. I want to do a few splats a little bit darker. Just kind of here. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with my stamping, and I'm going to leave that as is. So now we're going to go in and we're going to do some ink smooshing to kind of get some more texture and stuff going on. So I like to grab a like acrylic block like so, and I am just going to see if we can kind of do both here. Actually, you know what? I'll take this block. Can you see all this?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I'm just going to take and smoosh some colors on here. First, we'll start with one color. We'll go on to the rest. And I usually do this just right on my glass mat, but I want you guys to be able to see like the process. So then I just take my block, and it's all kind of blotchy there, and I'm literally just stamping this right on top of here, and we're going to get those awesome kind of textured textured pooling of water on there. So I love how that is looking, and you can do as much or as little as you want. So I'm pretty satisfied with that color. I'm going to go in with a little bit of a darker one. Oops, sorry guys. Same thing. And I'm just adding some darker splotches along the way here too. And every time you do this, it's going to be a little bit different, and that's kind of the fun of it. So I love how it kind of interacts with the stamping that we already did there. I said I was using dye ink before, and it is water reactive. I like that look. If you don't like how it kind of like fades it out a little bit, you could use a watercolor friendly ink. So it just kind of depends on what look you're going for. I like this, so that's what I'm doing. So I'm just going to kind of speed dry this a little bit with my heat tool. Right now it looks kind of like a mess, but you just gotta trust the process. You gotta just like make it past like all of the mess, and it turns out good. Okay. So here is this. I'm going to set that aside. We're going to let it dry a little bit, and we're going to move on to watercoloring this image. All right. So I'm just using a red color and then a couple of grays here. These are Karen markers. These are water-based markers used for watercoloring. So I gotta find my paintbrush that I was just watercoloring pansies before the live video, trying out some techniques for tomorrow's video, so excuse my little scatterbrainness. Okay, so I like to just put some water on an acrylic block off to the side, and I just start with water on my brush. And I like to do a light wash of water over where I'm going to apply the color first. I just find, especially with grays, that they don't blend out as well if you don't have this little bit of base. So I'm going to go in with a light color first. And I'm just kind of tracing over all like the little lines on here. So it's not completely watercolored in.
Penny's wondering if you fussy cut that image.
I did not. This has a coordinating die to go with it, which is in our shop. I love that we're able to do some coordinating dies. So for this release, we have 3 coordinating dies. We have, well, actually 2. One is sold out. We have one for our beer set. We have this one for our awesome Eiffel set. And then we will restock the whiskey one. All right, so I'm just going to go in with a little bit of a darker gray, and I'm going to go over some of those areas where I want it to be a little bit darker. Kind of just tracing over the lines of the stamp here. Perfect. Kind of getting, I was going to call it the feet, but it's the bottom. It's, you know. All right, now we're going to do our florals. So I'm going to just go in. I'm going to do the same process. I like to add water down first. Then I'm going to go in with our marker, and I'm just going to kind of let the water do its thing and pull that pigment around a little bit. And then I'll just go in there and blend out a tiny bit. And you can repeat this process to add in darker shadows. All right, let's do this floral up here. This is such a fun stamp set. I'm really enjoying it. How many Caron markers come in the set that you have? I have the full set, like including the neons, which I never use. So I don't know, if you like neons, maybe you want to get the full set. If you don't like neons, maybe all of them but the neon. They're just really, really bright for me, and I don't know. I'm just not a neon girl, I guess. Skipped out on that. I wasn't born in the 80s. Didn't experience that. All right, I'm going to grab just a little bit of a... Okay. I wanted a little bit of a darker red that I can just kind of do a little bit down. Okay, I love that. Perfect. Okay, now we're gonna do some of our leaves here. Thank you, Dorothy. I'm so glad that you're loving this. This stamp set is really easy to work with. It's really fun to color. I even was trying to color it with some Copics, and Copics really aren't my jam, and I was loving it. Okay, so kind of the same process right here with our leaves. Putting that water wash down, kind of going in. Okay, so I was going to ask Zendaya, the artist, if this is a flower or leaves, and I think it's a flower. So I'm going to color it like it's a flower. Sometimes it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I think it's a flower.
Okay. I'm going to just blend out our leaves just a little bit. That water kind of did its thing with it. And then I'm just going to go in with some stems here. And I think we're good. So there is our watercolored image. So fun and perfectly die cut out. Like, this would make for a really, really beautiful, clean and simple card as well, which I will do at some point and share with you guys how you could use this set to do more of a like clean style card. Okay, back to our background that we created with stamping out these elements. I'm just going to grab my little mat here, and we're going to do a little bit of ink blending. I love to do ink blending over the top of ink smooshing because when you blend over the top, it really catches all of these little splatters and you get even more like texture. So I'm just using a Gina K ink here in Warm Cocoa with my little blending brush, and I'm just going to start off on a corner. See how it really just kind of accentuates that? I don't know. I like it. Let's do ink on ink. And we're going to add some splatters to this because is it really a vintage card if you didn't splatter it? I don't think so. Oh, where is Angela? I see her messaging and she's not there. That's so nice to say. Oh, my son is just getting off the school bus, so if you hear a little gremlin come in here, it's him. All right, that I love how it just really warms up the edges. Let's add some splats here. Maybe some white would be really pretty. So I'm just gonna do, this is just Distress Spray Stain in white. And I'm just going to kind of get some on my brush here. Okay, love. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna set this aside. I just want to grab and do a little bit of ink blending around the edge of our Eiffel, just so it's not so stark white. Since this is a vintage style card. Perfect. I like that a little bit better. Okay, so, oh, my white didn't really show. I gotta do more. It's kind of sinking in. You stay. You stay.
That's crazy. It totally just disappeared.
Yeah. You can see it in person more so. Okay, so here is this. We're gonna go ahead and adhere this down to our cardstock here. I'm gonna do some foam tape, foam adhesive, because I feel like when you do ink smooshing and stuff on paper that isn't watercolor paper, it does curl. And so I like to have, or like to use something that's gonna really adhere it down and control that like buckling a little bit. So, don't mind me and my foam tape. Crafter's gotta craft. And for me, that means foam tape.
Yeah, just clean that scissors.
I know, the scissors is donezo. I need to order a new one. I found my crafting scissors in our like back manufacturing room. They were like cutting apart like little bits and stamps and stuff before they would send them out to make them perfect. And they were using the scissors, so it just got kind of gunky. See? All right, we'll take our backing off. Perfect. We're just going to put this right on here. Super cute, I love. Okay, so this is gonna go like right there. Yes, right there is where it's gonna go. But I want to do a little greeting, and I saw Senhaya had pulled out this set, and I had to grab it. This is the first set that I think Angela let me curate, and so this is all just kind of like greetings, and it's very like mixed media style, and so I'm gonna grab Hello out of there. It has a bunch of different greetings. This one's a part of the warehouse sale, so if you don't have it, I really like it. I mean, obviously, I picked the sentiments. I should like it. Okay, I'm gonna grab Espresso, and I'm just gonna really ink this up. And we're gonna do Hello just down here in the corner. Hello. And I thought it would be fun to emboss this just so the greeting kind of pops off the paper a little bit. So this is just clear embossing powder. There. I love that little bit of like gloss and shine. It just adds dimension to it. It's really, really fun. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's use some flat adhesive on this. I'm going to do some liquid glue. So my liquid glue is, oh here, right where it's supposed to be. I like to use the iCraft Ultra Bond adhesive. This is just my personal like go-to liquid, and I believe we do have this one in our shop if you're looking for kind of a go-to liquid as well. You really don't need much of this, although...
Go-to glue.
All right. And let's go ahead and put this right on here. And then I'm just gonna grab a acrylic block. I like to just set like something on top to get like a nice adhesion for that. So this card is pretty much complete with just a little bit of ink smooshing and some brown inks. Like you can totally do this as well. So I'll just show you both of mine so you can see how like every single time this is going to be a little bit different. And that's kind of the fun of it. So here it is. This one, I popped up my Eiffel. And this one, the whole panel's popped up. So there's kind of the difference between both. But I think that they both turn out really, really fun. And like if you can get, like add one stamp set to your collection this week, I totally recommend Eiffel Grunge and the coordinating die. These stamp elements are just fantastic. You really cannot go wrong. I know this will be a set that'll be one that kind of just lives in the craft room because I'm going to want to use those for other cards as well. And I love sets like that. It really just kind of ups the value when you can pull it out and mix and match it with like anything in your collection. So that's what we're working with. I wanted to share with you one more kind of vintage style card featuring a stamp set by Angie Blom that I am loving. It is absolutely gorgeous, and I think that you all will love it as well. So let me just grab that and share it with you. So here is the next one. It does amazing watercolor creations, and I saw a card that she did using kind of blues, and I always do pinks and reds for florals. Like I never do blues, I never do like anything different. So I was really inspired by that, and I actually love how this turned out, and so maybe this will inspire you to grab some of those colors in your collection that you don't normally grab too. I love how we can all inspire each other to try new things, and who knows, we might actually like it. Okay, so this one features a brand new arrival called Forever Close by Angie Blom, and I absolutely love it. So this is the whole like image here. It's all one image. That's one really cool thing about this stamp is like I don't think that I could stamp this out to like create that look. And so I love when you can just use one stamp and you have all that detail, all that beauty, and you're just like ready to go on coloring it up. So that's kind of like a stamp set for like vintage style stamping for like beginners. Like if you're just kind of dabbling in it, this is a great one. And I am going to pull out this sentiment set again that I just used, just because I think it fits well. And yeah, the sentiment that does come with this is awesome. It says memories are keep our loved ones forever close, and I think that's so, so sweet. This would be great on the inside of a card or the outside, and there's lots of samples for this as well. But I'm going to show you how I created this one. So for this card, we are going to need just a few supplies here. So I have a white A2 card base. This is some cotton embossed paper that I got from Tonic a while back. So this is just like in my collection, but if you're curious about it, it's from Tonic. Love it. And then I have a little bit of a watercolor panel that I already die cut out that we're going to stamp our whole image on. And yeah, that's about it. Okay. I noticed I got a little watercolor on that, but it's going to be okay. It's vintage. We can deal with the little smears. Okay, so here's that stamp. Look at that detail, you guys. Dang it, that's so pretty. Okay, so I am going to try to center this as best as I can on this panel. And I'm going to grab a watercolor friendly ink. For me, that's VersaFine Clair. Another really great one that I love is the Ink on 3 hybrid ink. So if you're kind of looking for like an all-purpose ink, you don't want to have to remember like, what does this work with? What does this not work with? Go for a hybrid. It just takes the guesswork out of it, and then you never ruin your creations. If you're like, oh no, I want to add Copic to this, or I want to add watercolor or whatever, then your ink won't smear if you do a hybrid ink. Okay. Sorry, I'm like obsessive about like a really dark impression. Okay, so that looks really, really pretty to me. I love it so much. Let's go ahead and do some of the watercoloring. So just so I'm not moving my whole panel around and like making your eyes go buggy, I'm gonna just tape it to the center. Okay, so for this one, I'm actually bringing out a few of my Zig Clean Color markers. This is just a different brand than I used before. It's still a water-based marker, so it blends out with water. The tips of these are just a little bit smaller, which I thought would work better for kind of the little details of this stamp. So let's do it. We're gonna start off. Again, I like to do my water base with these, so I'm just going to take a little acrylic block, spray some water for myself on it. And then I just go in and I am doing a light wash of water over this camera because that's what I'm going to start with. This just kind of helps the watercolors blend a little bit easier for me. And this is watercolor paper, if you're curious. So I'm just going to go in with this light gray to start. And I'm just going to kind of cover like the whole thing in this light gray, and then I'm going to go back in and add some darker details. It's kind of an overall color. Okay, now I'm going in with my darker gray, and I'm just going to kind of feather in some of this darker color. Okay, and then I'm going to just take my brush and I'm just going to blend this out a little bit. And then I'm going to just color the leggies. All right. So the florals, so I was saying I always kind of do like pink or like red or something like that, but I'm going to try something new today. I'm going to do blue. I literally think this is the first blue thing I've ever like watercolored. Okay, so I'm going to go in first with this blue gray, and we're going to really just kind of lay this down where it is like the darkest hue. So like this is the inside of the petal, so that is where it would be darkest. So I like to work in kind of small sections. So we're going to put that down, and then we're going to take our brush and just blend out each petal. So it kind of softens it a little bit. I want to know how you guys watercolor your florals. Like, do you do everything all at once, or do you do petal by petal? Like, I always do petal by petal because I feel like it's easiest for me. But then when I do like really small things like this, I feel kind of weird. Because I'm like, okay, do I really need to do every little petal when it's this small? But yes, I do. Okay, when we get into these little details, it's really nice to have this little brush because you can still place the color exactly where you want it to go for those darker hues. Okay, so we kind of have a blue-gray going on. Now I'm going to go in and do something risky. I'm going to take this Persian blue, which is literally blue, and we're going to go in and we are going to add just the lightest little touch of this Persian blue over the top of where we just applied that blue-gray. Then we're going to take our brush and petal by petal, we're going to just really blend it out. So it doesn't look as crazy as it does like on the marker itself. And I think putting down that gray color first does kind of like mute this a little bit, which I like. So I'm just doing like an itty bitty line, if you can see that. This detailed work, man. This is really fun to color up though. Like I had a lot of fun with it. Just kind of thinking of the different like colors. Like I thought a yellow would be really pretty. And of course a red, my go-to. Nick, are you sighing?
No, that was heavy.
Mm-hmm. My husband is in here. He does all the behind the scenes work when we do live videos, and I just heard an audible sigh.
Yeah, Everett wants to use the computer, so he keeps asking how much time is left.
Well, I think I'm gonna make another card of. You're gonna be fine. All right, so there's our first blue flower, and I think that turned out really fun and pretty. The other ones go very quick because they're small. So we're just gonna repeat that process, put our water wash down. We're gonna go in with our blue-gray. This one we really don't have to blend this gray out much because it's such a small like area. Kind of just applies. Now I'm just gonna go in with that blue. And I'm putting this only kind of where the darkest spots would be.
Gma says it's kind of vintage like her.
Oh. All right. Love it.
Yeah, Stephanie, I do kind of need a nap. Whit, do you need a nap?
Surprisingly, no.
Wow.
I am like a nap queen. Like I'm very like weekends. Like if I have time, I plan my weekends around like making sure I get a Saturday nap with my baby. But I've started to eat a lot like healthier, and like my energy levels are just so much better. Like I'm not like crashing in the afternoon. It's crazy. Okay, so there is our blue. So now I'm just going to go in, I'm cleaning my brush off, and we are going to do our leaves. So I'm going to take just kind of a green color.
I wish you guys could see this blue in person. It's so much more vibrant than on the camera.
Yeah, it really is vibrant.
Wait, really? Oh yeah, it is.
It's better in person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I will upload like a close-up picture of this to like my personal Instagram if you want to check that out. Because it's always easier to see the true colors like in a photo than it is like a live video sometimes. All right, so this is pretty much good to go here. We got that all watercolored. So now we're going to add some vintage effects. So I thought it would be fun to take some ink, and we are just going to smoosh a little bit on our black. Then I'm going to take like my big fluffy brush here, and I'm just going to like really like messily kind of put it along the edges and kind of like in these like where there's little dots. And it looks a little chaotic, but just like trust the process. Okay. So then I'm going to go in. I thought we'd do some like ink smooshing a little bit too, because I love doing that, so why not? Okay, so I'm going to take the brown ink. I like to do it on another little acrylic block like this, and then I can just like dip it in like a stamp on ink. And we're going to get a bunch of fun like pooling and different texture with this. So we're just going to take it, kind of the same effect that we did last time. I'm going to kind of center this around the edges more so than over the top of the floral. Okay. So I'm liking that. Let's go ahead and speed dry this. We can add like some splatters over the top because I love that texture of the splatters. And then a little bit more, like I'm going to do some white splatters on this too, and we'll see if it actually like stays or what it wants to do. Okay. So this is like really pretty, like I love it how it is. We're going to go in and we're going to do some more ink blending to this.
Can you tell the kind of ink you used again for the ink smooshing?
Sure. I used Gina K Designs in Warm Cocoa. So this is a water-based pigment ink. No, dye ink.
Dye ink.
It is a dye ink, so it's water reactive. So any of your Tim Holtz distress inks or distress oxide, that's gonna work. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and add some ink blending around these edges. And I love how like you just kind of get that extra detail of where the water has pooled.
Yeah, that really pulls it together.
Mm-hmm.
Really makes a spotlight effect in the middle.
Yeah, it really does. Okay, so we got that going on. I love adding this little touch to vintage cards. This is just like a edge distresser. You can use the edge of your scissors too, but for me, like I just go like this. If you don't have one of these, you can take your scissors and do the same thing, like so. So we're just going to rough them up really well.
ASMR.
Yeah, right. Okay, so now I like to take a little bit of a darker color like this espresso, and you can go along the edges with it, and it just kind of grabs. That's really, really fun. I want to grab, we're going to grab a sentiment from this set again. This is a part of our warehouse sale. But I'm going to grab the hello sentiment again. Right here. And we're going to stamp this out in some black ink. And I'm going to do it right over here. And then let's emboss because we can, and it's just an easy way to get, emphasis on that a little bit. So it just pops up and shines. Okay. Like, how cute is that? Can you handle it? 'Cause I can't. I can't handle it. Okay, so to adhere this embossed paper, this is my method to like adhering it down on my card base so it's like nice and solid. So I like to use this terrible tape, and it's just a double-sided adhesive. I believe we have this in our shop.
Tear as in it rips.
Yes.
Not terrible as in, yeah.
It's great tape. Okay, so this is what I like to do. Get a nice solid base. I'm going to use my little pokey tool and get the backing off. All right. And then I'm going to grab this. It's, again, if you're just tuning in, this paper here is an embossed cotton paper, and it is from the Tonic Studios. So, if you're on the market for it, that's where it's from. Okay, I just can't with this, and so I have to cut it off quick. Okay, I feel better. Okay, I thought we would pop this up on this panel, and it's really going to add some dimension. So a little bit of foam tape.
A little bit.
Sorry, my little weenie dog. She's very needy. She demands constant snuggles and love. Right now she's probably looking for the number to ASPCA. So I'm not holding her.
Yeah, she's just staring like, why aren't you loving me?
All right. We can take our backing off with my handy dandy pokey tool. I literally poked like the heck out of my finger with this the other day. Like I was doing this and my finger was there, and all of a sudden I went. Okay. Oh, I need to do my string before I do that. Okay. I forgot to do my string, y'all. I'm grabbing some May Arts twine here. I'm wrapping it around a couple of times. I should have done this prior to me putting the foam tape, but this will work just fine. I'm just going to put it where I want.
When does the sale end?
This warehouse sale ends tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. So you have through tomorrow to kind of check out those goodies. There's some really awesome sets that are on sale. Some like limited quantity things, some things that don't typically go on sale, and some stamps are even up to 75% off. So there's some really great deals kind of in and amongst those sets, and it's just kind of fun to shop and check them all out. Okay. Fiddling with the bow, because we can, right? Okay, and I thought this was a really fun little... This is different than my other card, but I just wanted to add this. I thought it just, like, hello beautiful. Like, I think it's so cute. Okay. So I'm just going to add that. This is like a little wood flourish. Like, you know how it is if you've been crafting a while. You have, like, everything and you don't really know where you got it or what brand it is, and that's kind of this. These are just little wood flourishes that I've had in the craft room for a long time. All right, just gonna grab a little, put you there for a second. Let's trim off our bow here. Ew, what happened? Oh, thanks.
Oh my.
What?
That's scissors. I just can't get over it.
I know, it's rough. Okay, so another thing, like, I can't handle it, like, when my bow is, like, flying out into oblivion. So I need to just take a little dot of glue, put it under the knot, hold it down for a couple seconds so it stays in place, and then you can just grab one of these, set that there. So I'm going to show you both the cards I made because they're each a little bit different, and it's just fun how they all turn out a little bit different. So here's the first one that I made when I was practicing, and I really like how it turned out. It's really, really fun. This is a thank you card. And then this one here is a little bit different. I added that wood flourish down on the bottom just for something. But yeah, just kind of a fun vintage style card. And this one again features the stamp set Forever Close by Angie Blom. So I love, love, love that set. And then if you're just tuning in and you missed the first vintage style card that I made, this is it. And it is featuring a really, really amazing stamp set with lots of different elements in there that you can mix and match. It is called Eiffel Grunge. It comes with a coordinating die for that Eiffel, which I love. And then warehouse sale deal here that I use. This is a throwback. It's called Whit's Words. This was the first set that I think I curated for Unity, so I really like this one. It's been a little minute, but yeah, and they're huge too. Like, they're really big. Dang it.
This Eiffel one, the beer, and the whiskey all have dyes, for those wondering.
Yes, the whiskey is out of stock right now. That dye, I would assume we're going to get it back in stock, but it was really popular. We're testing a new thing. We typically don't offer coordinating dyes right away with our stamp sets. Like, we'll kind of go back and grab some, here and there. So we're testing this out to see if you guys like this. If you love that we have coordinating dyes for our releases, we would love to know, just so we can keep bringing you guys the same things. Yeah. So here is a little close-up. I would love to see your rendition of these. If you make something kind of mixed media inspired, messy, grungy, vintage, share it over on the Unity Show and Tell page. We would love to have you over there. There's just a bunch of like-minded people up in there, and we all have lots of fun. And of course, Angela's always sharing giveaways and little extras for our friends over there. So I encourage you to join us. But yeah, I guess that's all I have. We're going to be live again tomorrow afternoon, and we'll post the time tomorrow in the Unity Show and Tell, so you can join us. I hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday, and I'll see you real soon. Bye, everybody.
Your nails look so pretty in there.
Oh, thanks.
Hey, Dad.
I feel like I have my life
Dad,
together
I'm
a little bit with my
I know.
nails.